Welcome to a video with a positive outlook. Probably means that YouTube won't favour it with their algorithm, but maybe I'll be wrong. You see, there's bad news everywhere, and it's amplified by the media and especially by social media, almost to the level of hysteria. So let me try and bring some balance. Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Pete Matthew and I'm a chartered financial planner based here in the UK. And let me first say that this video is aimed at investors. I know that millions of people are going to have a really difficult winter. It's November 2022 as I record this. But it's going to be tough for many people with sharply rising energy and food costs. And I don't want to take anything away from that. But neither am I the best person to speak to folks in that position for all kinds of reasons. But if you're in a position to invest, chances are that you're thinking more about the state of your portfolio or whether you might have to change your retirement plans rather than deciding whether to heat the home or eat dinner. So let's keep that in mind as we talk first about perspective. Then we're going to cover what it means to guard our minds against bad news, and then most positively of all, I'm going to give you some reasons to be cheerful about the outlook. It goes without saying that if one is in the position to invest, then that's better than the vast majority of people. There was a report out this week on the BBC, I think, that said that a quarter of UK adults have less than £100 saved. So if you're investing in a pension or an ISA, if you're spending less than you earn each month, clearly that's not you. Now this is a UK-based channel, so if you're watching this living in the UK, you're benefiting from living in a G7 economic superpower with universal healthcare, well-regulated financial markets. I mean, we could have been born somewhere else. Broadening things out a bit, the world has never been a better place. Compared with 200 years ago, the percentage of people living on less than $1.90 per day has fallen from 84% of people in 1820 to just 9% of people now. Child mortality has fallen from 43% chance of dying under age 5 to just 4% now. 86% of the world's population are literate compared with just 12% in 1820. And 56% of people in the world live in a democracy, compared with just 1% 200 years ago. So clearly there's some way to go, but we've come so far. We're doing pretty well as a species, and I see no reason to believe that this positive progress won't continue. Thinking about markets, corrections such as the one we're seeing right now, they're never pleasant, but they're just part of the investing journey, and they happen all the time. In 20 of the last 25 years, the FTSE All-Share Index has declined by more than 10% during the year. But in 16 of those 25 years, it has ended the year in positive territory. This year, 2022, its lowest point was just under 12% down from the start of the year. And as I record this in November, it's just under 8% down from the 1st of January level. So things are really not so bad or so unusual, I would argue. Now, before you shout at the screen about inflation, which is definitely not normal right now, I'm coming to that, I promise. If you spend any time watching finance videos here on YouTube, you'll have noticed a marked increase in the number of thumbnails with flames on them, or downward pointing red arrows crashing through the floor. Most of these are just clickbait, of course. I watched one video last night with the title, "Warren Buffett's Last Warning, the Crash Will Be Worse Than 1929. And the video didn't even mention the current market situation at all, and certainly didn't talk about a coming crash. But if you were only scanning titles and thumbnails, you'd have pretty good cause to be quite depressed. I think it's really important to guard our media intake and weigh whatever it is that we read, hear and watch really carefully. Definitely always consider the media outlet's motive in producing the content that they do. And remember that motives are almost always mixed. So, for instance, my primary motivation for Meaningful Money is to equip people to help themselves with their financial planning. But I would be lying if I said that the fact that this channel drives tons of clients to my financial planning practice, the channel makes money in its own right, I would be lying if I said those things weren't a factor. When your revenue is based on eyeballs, you'll do anything to get people to click, watch, and keep watching your stuff. The YouTube algorithm is supposed to reward quality content, but I'm not sure that it always works out that way. And certainly bad news sells better than good news. We do well to remember that, I think. But I'm going to give you some good news in just a sec. Okay, hopefully we have a little bit of perspective now and an understanding that the media is likely to highlight the negative side of things more than the positive. And if you're watching this channel, you're clearly of above average intelligence. So I know that you're not going to fall into the trap of believing inflammatory headlines and inflammable thumbnails. Now, you know the key to success, no matter what the markets in the world at large are doing, is to plan. Financial planning is the process of assessing your current situation, establishing where you'd like to be and by when, and then plotting a course from A to B. That's what my clients pay me to do, but I actually teach you to do that yourself at Meaningful Academy. And there are two phases of the Academy that will help you to plan for the future. Firstly, build wealth, which is for those who are still working and investing their way towards financial freedom. Then there's retirement planning, which is for those for whom the finish line is in sight and who want to protect what they've built and make the best choices out of the many options they face at retirement. I'd love to tell you more about it, and to do that I've recorded a special unlisted video which I'm only going to offer to the core audience. So if you're interested in the detail of good planning and would like to see some practical steps, check it out. It's free and available only via the link below. Okay, let's look ahead a little bit now. And are there any reasons to be cheerful right now in late 2022? Well, yes, I believe that there are. So take inflation. Right now, it's the highest it's been for 40 years, and that's unequivocally bad. But according to one ongoing study of economists' forecasts for inflation, the median expectation is that inflation will be back down to between 2 and 3% by the end of 2023. Might be, might not be. We'll see. Interest rates are obviously rising, and they're going to continue to do that for a little while yet, I think. Now, that's tough if you're on a mortgage, particularly if you're on a variable or discounted rate, but it's good news for savers. Most experts believe that rates will come down. They'll go up first and then come back down, but they won't come back down to the levels that we've got used to over the last 15 years. And actually, I think that's okay. Fuel prices are coming down. They're significantly lower than their highs. The cost of moving goods around the world is falling, though that probably has got quite a bit to do with demand falling because people's wallets are squeezed. But it should bring inflation down somewhat. Company profit margins are staying pretty level, but revenue is rising. So the great companies of the world are earning more money, but it's costing them more to do that. That's, I think, a lot more positive than reports of a global depression and crash and we're all going to hell in a handcart. Yes, we're heading for a recession. We might already be in one, but that's okay. It's not going to be fun, but neither will it last forever. Last week, the governor of the Bank of England suggested that a recession might last from now until 2024, which would make it the longest recession ever. But at worst, that's 2 full years and a bit. In the context of a multi-decade investing timeline, that's actually a pretty short period of time. So I don't want to take anything away from the challenges that people are facing and are going to face, but I think we need to take a breath sometimes and ask whether things are really as bad as we're led to believe. Winston Churchill said, "When I look back on all these worries, I remember the story of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had had a lot of trouble in his life, most of which had never happened. Worrying about tomorrow robs today of its strength. Better by far to stay practical, guard your media intake, and try and retain some perspective. When it comes to being practical, don't forget that special video that I've made to help you with some steps that you can take now to make sure that you're still on track despite everything that's going on." Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.